Hi everybody, my name is Marsie Vellan and you are watching the Owl of Lysia Cypher System live play on the Monty Cook Games Twitch channel. Joining me today are four lovely people who absolutely stole my heart, and I'm sure they're going to steal yours too, and maybe some of your other stuff. Let's go around and introduce some of our fabulous players. Well, all of them tonight. We'll start with Leora. Leora, tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the character that you'll be playing. Oh my goodness. It did mess everything up. Hold on. I gotta...
That's not Grandma Boot Wally. That's a lie.
Yep. Okay, Leora, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the character that you'll be playing tonight.
Sure. I'm Leora Holmes. I'm a lawyer from the Midwest. And the character I'm playing tonight is Kalia Red Sky.
That's a lie.
Oops, sorry. Reverb.
A jovial explorer who meets out justice, which basically means I'm a pirate, but a really good pirate who likes to save the innocent and punish the guilty. I have a great fondness for charity cases, orphans, kittens, and I also have a really nice ship that I really like. That's my best friend, called the Red Jade, and yeah, I'm generally pleasant, but also make a fair number of enemies among the people that I don't necessarily think are all that great.
Beautiful. Let's go down to Skyra. Skyra, tell us a little bit about yourself and the character you'll be playing tonight.
All right, I'm Skyra Moss. I'm going to be playing a character named Metatrina Stormwater, aka Trin. She is a brash explorer who crafts unique objects. So basically, she goes and dives into the ocean and salvages items from shipwrecks in the area, and then she drags it all home and makes cool stuff out of it and sells it for a living. She grew up on the streets of Salem as an orphan, and that's how she got into her business, working in a little boathouse fixing ships. Yep.
Okay, let's go up to the real grandma. Sharon, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your character you'll be playing tonight?
So I'm Sharon Biswas. I'm a game designer, writer, and artist living in New York City. And I am playing Grandma Parvati Bhutwali. She just likes people to call her Grandma. For her whole life, she was a stay-at-home grandma, like literally her whole life. She was a grandma from birth. No. But she's had lots of husbands and lots of children and grandchildren from those husbands. And when they all moved out, she had like empty nest syndrome. And she's like, what am I going to do? And that's when a bunch of minor gods banded together and formed a union because they realized they need representation too, and basically chose Grandma Parvati as their prophet. And she's like, do I not get a say in this? And they're like, nope. And so now she travels the world doing like a divine tasks for the greater good of these very minor gods. She is an intimidating adept who heralds 1,000 gods, which is really just a reskin of ink spells on skin from the Strange book.
Amazing. And let's go down to Grant. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your character.
Hi, everybody. My name's Grant Ellis, and I'm recovering from pneumonia. I'm an occasional Twitch streamer and an independent content creator for tabletop RPGs. I'm a big fan of this system, and you can find me on the Twitters at WisePapaGrant and see a little bit more about my streaming endeavors. As far as this game's concerned, I will be playing Fiddlix Fox, the mysterious speaker who throws with deadly accuracy. He is a great hunter from the north, carrying his glaive with an eagle head that has the blade protruding from its beak. And he enjoys a good story and a good meal. And business has led him southwards to these sunny lands where he is not quite at home, and he is seeking an old rival of his that he might taunt her and tease her as she stumbles about her business, and possibly see if he can get a job because he is currently accepting assignments.
Yeah. And let's...
That's a way of saying you're unemployed.
Yeah, that's true. Let's talk a little bit about our setting that we're playing in. The world is called Gaelica. It is a very seafaring world, very open to trade. There are 6 major continents. The one that we'll be playing in today is actually an island, a series of islands called Sail. And our characters have wound up there by some means or another. No one really goes to Sail. Everyone just ends up there. And tonight, our characters, these desperate souls, will all come together to seek greater fortunes and change their stars, or change the stars of their compatriots for better or worse. In this world, there are 4 types of races. Now, they tend to be a little bit more nebulous than what we're used to in other settings and systems. You have, for example, the Tavern, who are the closest approximation to humans in this setting. Tavern they're considered an older race, the conquering race, though that's far in their history. They've spent millennia toppling nations and building their own. They can point to many structures and buildings that it's theirs. This is their home now. And they're also the shortest lived of the races, something that earns them this sort of reputation for learning the least. They die before they really learn any lessons, much like we do in real life. Our next race is called Anima. These are the people who are more beast than man, and sometimes the other way around, and our own Fiddlix is one of those. They are the creatures of folklore. They are the ones that are prone to teach lessons rather than learn them themselves. And then we have the Gants, who no one represents the Gants tonight. They are truly the oldest race. They are plants and people together as one. And then we have Tannin, who are represented by a couple of our player characters tonight. Tants are the combination of monsters and men. And, of course, we have our only Theron in the group, Kalia. But,
Yay!
yeah, right?
I'm the dumb one.
So, yeah, I'm multiracial.
Yeah. Multiracial. I feel like that's common, though. But we're going to learn a bit more about how these races come to be, how they interact with each other, and how they'll interact with the characters here tonight. Let's begin on our island in Sail. So, people in the Twitch chat, I left this open purposefully, and not just because I'm really bad at naming, but what should our island be called tonight? What should our home island for these people be called? Because I have a couple of names in mind, but none of them are particularly good or roll off the tongue. The island of Fiddlix. He happens to be king, right? Thanks, Grant.
Ooh, there's a good one.
Ooh, I like that.
United Nerd Network. Love those guys. And gals. And NBs.
I really like Helenia. Ooh, Rockflow. That's also good. What do you think, guys? Helenia or Rockflow? Magenta! Magenta Island.
Can we just call it that? Like, go with the Pokemon idea and name it after a color?
We can certainly do that. And in addition to it being named Magenta, the sand there is a particular color, like a bluish, almost purple. It looks purple in sunlight, and it feels a little bit maybe too generous to call it purple, but the sand there is an off-white color that's closer to blue, thanks to years of erosion off of a particular mountain range that is.
Oh my
attached
God!
to this
Can I?
island.
That inspires me as to why Grandma Parvati is on this island.
Ooh. Well, let's start with Grandma Parvati first, then.
So, one of the gods that Grandma Parvati represents is Vidan, the god of encyclopedia writers. And there is a rather well-known encyclopedia writer who is on this island studying the sand for the next volume of the encyclopedia, but they haven't been heard from in a while. And so their publishers sent a prayer out to the ether, and obviously Vidan, the god of encyclopedia writers, who's desperate to get recognized, a true deity, is like, I will solve this and it'll be awesome. And so sent me, Grandma Parvati, to see if I can uncover anything about this writer.
Okay, let's begin with you, Grandma Parvati. So, your day begins just like any other day, except you find yourself on a new island. A new island after a new island after a new island. You've been searching for a while for this particular encyclopedia writer, as the minor god of encyclopedia writers has ordered you to do. What is the god's name again?
Vidan, so that's Vidan. He is the god who grants me my scan power.
Ooh, and scan is a very, very useful ability. I really like that one. By the way, because I'm definitely not terrible at naming things, I have with me that I use this deck of cards.
Oh.
Yeah, it's actually a Cypher system deck of NPCs, or rather the NPC deck, and I love it so much. So you are looking for this particular encyclopedia writer, and he's been a little bit elusive. So you're looking in the sands for him. The morning is breezy. There was a brief rainfall, and that sort of smell of fragrant flowers from this island paradise just fills your senses as you step out of the place you were
Feels
probably
like
staying.
before I had all these children annoying me.
Yeah, and the best part is there's like all the smells of paradise and almost no sound. There's brief sort of raspy noises of insects that fill your ears every once in a while, but otherwise it's very, very quiet and calm as your feet hit the sand. Now, because it's so breezy, the sand has shifted quite a bit. As you look, you find no sense of direction or footsteps. However, you're probably a little bit more clever than anyone would give you credit for. You're those agists. But yeah, you have the power of a minor god on your side. So to find this person, I need you to make me a difficulty check. And this is going to be a task difficulty, we'll call it a 3. Shouldn't be too hard to find a very conspicuous person, but...
Yeah, so I say to myself, typical for the gods to put me on an island and not give me directions. Typical. And so I'm like thinking, okay, so where would I be if I were an encyclopedia writer? And I rolled a 4.
So, for those of you who are new to Cypher system, whenever you roll, you're trying to match or beat whatever your target number is. When I say it's a task difficulty 3, it means that Grandma here has to roll at least a 9 or better. All the numbers are multiplied by 3. Grandma Parvati has failed. And perhaps she has failed for a reason, but that reason isn't so tragic that I need to intrude on it. So it's just going to take her longer. She, of course, can retry the check later, but for now, she is walking across the sands, searching for an encyclopedia writer who is not there. Let's move to Skyra now. Trin.
Yes.
Trin, what is your morning look like as you step into the sun, or did you get up before the sun rose?
I woke up at dawn, and got on my small dinghy, met up with my NPC buddy. He's a Gantz fish boy named J6, and he tips off to any wrecks that he's found in the ocean nearby. So on this particular day, he's found a rather ancient but well-preserved wreck out near this Magenta Island. So I gather all of my diving gear and hop on the boat and sail out towards this island.
All right, perfect. So the sailing isn't too difficult. It's a small boat with one or two sails to be generous about it. Jessix swims alongside of it for the most part. He's a little bit uncomfortable getting up onto the actual deck itself. Every once in a while, he pops his head up and goes, "I saw a barracuda down there." And he's very excited to show you, and he's a really big fan of hanging out with the fish in general. Eventually, he comes up to join you as you near the wreck, and he tells you a little bit about the dangers around the actual wreck itself. You don't get a shipwreck without something that sunk it, for example. And it's about this time that you start hearing an odd quiet, followed by a loud, almost like a shotgun noise. That just kind of across the water. Now, of course, your character, there's no guns in the setting, but that's sort of the idea that your player, you can translate that into however you will for your character. Aloud.
You might know the sound. You might have made stuff that, interacts that way.
I have certainly in the past made things that might cause some small explosions on it. And so I'm incredibly curious as to who else might have this technology, because it's not something that I sell very often.
Yeah, that's true.
So I just try to keep a lookout.
Yeah. Otherwise, the day is quiet. If you'd like to, you can roll an intellect task to try to determine what that was or which direction it came from. Your difficulty for this one is going to be, make it a 4, but I think it's actually reasonable to drop it down to a 3 for reasons I'll explain if you pass.
Ooh.
Hello.
And I rolled an 8, so that's a no.
Oh. You haven't been here for that long, and normally you spend most of your time underneath the water. So nothing comes to your mind except for the first thoughts you had of maybe somebody got a hold of my stuff. You're a salesman also, so perhaps you sold something to somebody that made that sound, and you're like, they have my work.
Yes.
They must be enjoying it. On this fine morning, we're also joined by a lovely person, probably stepping off of her ship for the first time in weeks, having finally come to this island.
So I've been awake for a bit. I wake up before dawn, and I tend to sleep on the ship, on the deck. I feed my kittens, who are running about, and then I step onto my little dinghy to get into shore because the ship's anchored out at sea.
How big is the ship?
It's a galleon. Like, it's kind of it's the same size as the Black Pearl from Pirates of the Caribbean. Not to give away my inspirations too obviously, but it's about So it could probably have about 50 people on it.
Yeah.
It does not, but it could. It has bright red sails and it's shiny. Like, it's shiny, like, boat would be not a pirate boat, and on the back of it is this big mural of a sunset. It's very pretty, and also just happens to be right over where you would normally put a ship name, which is notable. But I step on my little dinghy and start rowing myself to shore by myself. There is a hole in the dinghy, So as I go in, there's some bucketing to get it to shore, but I finally land and with whatever dignity I can muster, step in my soggy boots onto the beach.
Okay, sounds good. You finally arrive. Did you take anybody with you on your small rowboat off the?
No, I don't think so. I think I went alone.
Okay, and that's probably good.
Yeah.
So, where would you like to head first? It's probably about a 15-minute walk from the shore to the nearest town, which is probably what you were aiming for when you made port.
I squelch my way up the whatever path there is, and have to stop and empty out my boots a couple times. But by the time I get there, I'm pretty dry. It's been windy, and I imagine my normal way of finding work is to head to the dingiest, crappiest pub and listen and see if anyone needs anything.
Fantastic. You can do that in fairly short time. People look at you a little funny because you're wet from the knees down, and you look like a pirate. But a lot of people wear tri-cornered hats, so you catch a little bit of notice, but otherwise people just leave you alone. It's kind of normal for here. We have a tavern to name now. So, what should we call this tavern?
Can we not name it the something? Can it be called my something to be different?
Oh, way better.
But why don't each person pick a word that will make a tavern name? So my...
Rusty.
Delicious.
Nail.
My rusty delicious nail.
Yes, good.
Love it.
No one knows what it means.
No,
My rusty delicious nail.
well,
The image,
Real pirates.
the image on the wooden sign is this rusty nail and this mouth closing over it.
I love that.
yeah, no, that's actually really good. They have fabulous. Well, they would be called corkscrews there, but it's more of a nail and
Rusty nail.
Yeah, the idea of putting rust in it actually relates to spices. They tend to spice their drinks with various things that they acclimate from the islands. Most of this spice is really, really cheap, though, and probably very Old Bay flavored.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Maybe the fancy places do their own version with the more expensive spices.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, it's the other way around. This is their version of the sort of more exotic place. You walk into the place. What's your demeanor like? What kind of air are you giving off as you step in?
I'm swaggery, for lack of a better term. I always walk around like I know the place, whether or not I do. So I have a tendency when I feel I don't know this island very well, so I have a tendency when I don't know things to act like I know things. And so I while I'm walking, I wave at some people as if I know them, but I don't know them, to try and make people think that I'm from around here, which is probably not successful.
Hold on. Roll me a task difficulty. It's going to be intellect based, and we'll give you a difficulty 2 for it. Most people are going to be drunk and a little bit suggestible. And if you have any skills that relate to this to knock that down even further, remember, if you can knock down a task to 0, you don't have to roll for it. It just happens.
Oh no, I lie a lot, but I do not have a deception skill of any kind.
Perfect. So task difficulty 2, please.
But I did get a 9, so that's cool.
Okay. So yeah, that you wave and they wave back, and you kind of have the appearance that some Therans do with very dominant features, where they're that we know that person, and you can actually hear as you pass by them discussing how they knew, and they're already in an argument about that.
Sorry, I lost you for a sec there. Repeat.
So I assume you're going to the barkeep? I think she might be gone for right now. Let's switch it over to Fiddlix then, and we will continue with Kalia when she returns. So Fiddlix, it's morning, and you have arrived in the city of this Magenta Island in search of something. What is that?
Well, currently on Magenta Island, I'm searching for a job, but currently I am discussing the story of how I obtained breakfast with what I would call mulekis. They're just kind of street children, and I have a rabbit that a puppet rabbit that I've fashioned out of the skin of my breakfast with its little ears, and I have 2 of them, and I'm telling these 4 children with my 5 foxy tails a-wagging behind me of the 2 stupid bunnies and the clever fox that knew all the ways to catch them. And I assume the children are somewhat bewildered, intrigued, and slightly threatened. They're vegetarian.
Yep. If you want to, you can roll me an intellect check. It's going to be a task because you're targeting children, of all things. It's going to be a task difficulty. It's going to be 1. You might just pass this automatically if you have a skill in intimidation or something of that.
Here's this type of skills that I have. I have skills. I have abilities in special abilities such as confounding. If I happen to not have a talent or ability, I can magically have it like roughly once per day. I also have skills in resisting interrogation, deception, seeing through deception, persuasion. I'm your skills guy. I'm not so much trying to frighten the children as much as I'm trying to entertain them, but I'm not really so much of a performer. And I'm attempting to coax them to be friendly to me. They might be useful eyes and ears in the city. With that, I rolled an 18. So if it's a 1, I think I needed a 3. Not using any skills.
Yes, of course. I was under the impression that you wanted to intimidate them. It was actually
it's often not my
bit,
intention.
I understand. It was a little bit harder to coax them into being your friend using such methods of carnal urges, but I would...
Which I am oblivious to.
Yeah. I would have made that a difficulty 5, which you passed.
In fact, I have something called inability, where people never know where they start with me, and any of those are increased by 1 difficulty. It's like, I'm very difficult to read. That's like, great, the fox is here. What does the fox say? We made the joke, no one else make it for the rest of the game. But we got the 1.
Okay. So you successfully win over these children. They were afraid. They were petrified. But now they kind of like you. They think you're something of a bad boy, but if a bad boy was also a fox.
How many? Yes, I'm not that much taller than them.
No, you're not.
How many are there?
We'll say there's 3, and all of them are looking at you with their eyes huge and glassy.
Every now and then, I sneak one of my... I actually have 5 tails. I'm a fox, but I'm more of a kitsune. And every now and then, I kind of, swoosh a tail by them almost comically, in a non-threatening way. Now, with that said, I may get hungry later. Not saying I'm going to eat them, but they might be able to point out where the best food is on the island. And with that... I will proceed into town, perhaps to the tavern. I'm looking for someone. I heard they might be here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You head up to the tavern, and it is early in the morning, as somebody in the chat has suggested. It is very early.
Don't judge us.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to my age, you drink whenever you want, okay?
It's good for you.
So when you come into the tavern, and I just got a message from Leora. Her internet dropped out, so she's joining us again very shortly. I'm keeping an eye out for that. So when you go to the tavern, and by the way, what kind of immediate task did you want to give these children? In case I missed that the first time around, because I heard you do the tail thing, but you sounded like you had some sort of.
There are
intent.
3 children. One, the best place to eat lunch for the best price, and if the meal is free, all the better. The second one, I'm very curious if any large ships are coming into port. And the third one, if anyone who seems stranger, are there any other travelers? And do these travelers seem to be trying to keep to themselves? Are they trying to hide secrets?
Beautiful. So for your
I'd very much like to know.
For your first answer, a somewhat large boy, he smiles real big and he says, best place to eat, my dad says, is the Wallowing Willow. It's on the coast, and he points up, and there's a small hut at the top of this big ridge overlooking the sea. He says that you can also get a place there to stay if you should need one. We also, I think that's Leora coming back. Your second answer for this taller, slender girl named, her name is Trinket, and she says, I saw a really big ship the other day, and she points at this ship it's just outside of harbor, and you can see with your fox eyes those tiny square red sails.
Ooh, familiar.
Yep, very familiar. And the last one, Lot, is a very, very small, thin boy. He tells you, yeah, I saw a lot of people keeping to themselves lately. There's so many, but the one in particular that I think is the most keeping to themselves is this strange guy. He doesn't live here. He just came here, and his name is Hollis, I think. Ellis? I don't know. He's not from around here, and he kept talking about some sort of. Oh, my dad doesn't trust him. He kept talking about a heist of some kind.
Heist? Juicy. And I offer them each a small piece of rabbit jerky. It's not quite jerky yet. In fact, it is rather slightly baked, but very rare. And do any of them partake of it? It is quite delicious. You can trust me.
Duffy takes it from your hands, and he takes a bite of it, and he goes, oh, this is better than what the frogman makes for us.
Ooh, of course. Fox is greater than frogs, they say. And I offer Trinket, the tall, slender girl, my fox eyes. They're kind of like pleading puppies right now. Like, please sample the food.
And Trinket takes a little bit of it, and she tries it, and she says, yeah, it's better than what the frogman gives us, because the frogman gives us flies.
Frogmans. They are a good source of protein, but hardly the sustenance for growing children. And Lot, I pull him off the largest piece. Try.
Lot, his eyes grow wide, and he takes it from you, and he starts chowing down on it immediately, and he says, this is it could use some more salt.
I agree. I deliberately was testing you, Lot, to see if you could discern it. I know you're special. You'll go far in life. And with that, me and my 5 tails go swishing away towards town.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to Kalia real quick. Kalia, as you go up to who I assume you are targeting, the bartender, she is a red-haired Tavern. She's of average build, and she's not working very hard. It's about 9 a.m. in the morning. This is the morning shift. She looks like she hasn't slept in a couple of days, and she regards you with a curious look and says, "Haven't seen your sort around here for a while."
Oh, yeah, I don't, I'm not from around here. I'm hoping to get to know some people. You look really tired. Can I help? Like, can I, wash some dishes or, make something? Or you can go take a break and I'll help out?
Her face quivers and she says, "That's curious. Roll me an intellect check to persuade. It's going to be a difficulty 2 for this one."
I have I'm trained in positive social interactions.
So knock that down to a 1.
Okay. And I got a 5, so yay.
Hey! Yep. You barely pass, and it's mostly because she's going in and out, just listening to your words, barely believing the words that are coming out of your mouth, and she goes, "Right, but it doesn't pay very much."
Oh no, I mean, I do need work eventually, but right now, you don't have to pay me. Just for today, I'm Kalia, and I stick out my hand.
She takes your hand and shakes it up and down, and she goes, "Okay, well, I could use some help with the breakfast rush, and if you do that, dishes afterward would be great." And I'm sorry, you said your name is Kalia?
Yep.
Okay. You know what? I can't not pay you. So tell you what. Do all this work today. Come back tomorrow. I'll give you 5-star.
Cool. That'd be great. I just wanted, because I don't know, you look tired, and I don't know. Thought I'd help.
I am. It's been a long week. We haven't gotten a shipment in for a while.
What's your name?
Jocelyn.
A shipment of what? Just wondering. I haven't been here.
Oh, well, if you came, you probably didn't come from the south. Really bad storm out there.
No, yeah, I missed that one.
Yeah, it knocked out knocked out quite a few vessels, and we've been getting these freak storms lately. You can, it's the worst. And if you listen very, very hard, you can hear it because it just sounds like a.
Well, wait, that's not a storm sound. You mean thunder?
Yeah, a little bit, but it's quicker.
Without lightning.
Yeah, without lightning.
That's weird.
It's very strange.
Okay, well, cool. Yeah, I can help out with the breakfast rush, and just point me the way.
We'll do that. So she puts you to work immediately, and as you disappear into the kitchen, that's about the time that Fiddlix
Oh, good.
comes into the bar of my delicious rusty nail.
My delicious rusty nail. Well, Fox gotta eat. And I've just eaten, but I still come meandering in.
Yep. And the lady at the bar, she regards you too with an even more curious look. A very well-dressed fox donning a large weapon.
Yeah, and I, kind of come in and, I flourish it a little bit and give a little spin, let my tail swing around almost as if it was a bridal gown, and give her, kind of a dashing, foxy smile, a wink and a point, and kind of let her know that Fiddlix has arrived and is at her service Why, Kalia, doing a little day drinking? Hard
Hi.
times.
Hi. How are you? I say as I start to sort of back into the kitchen.
I know, and I'm like foxing my way right over to her, moving almost as if we were beginning a improvisational flamenco dance number where I'm just kind of foxing over, and I'm like, this is very entertaining for me.
My hands are filled with dishes. I've got some bacon. I've got some eggs. I'm balancing it not well.
Yes, and how is your ship doing?
It's great.
Still floats?
Nice. Because otherwise it's not really a ship. It's just like a shipwreck. So yeah, it's doing fine.
And the crew still?
Yes, my crew's fine. Thanks for asking.
Morale's high. They don't question
always.
the captain? Always.
Well, no, why would they?
Oh, I don't know. It's just, I thought I might have heard some of them talking about how long it's been since shares have been divided. And you know how these crew members are when it comes to shares of the voyage. You haven't heard any such?
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's hard to divide 0 into a lot of pieces and get anything but 0. But my crew has very little reason to complain about equitable distribution.
I see. They're doing it for exposure. You know, that's how you die in the desert.
I've definitely never been to the desert.
You should try sometime.
The bartender Jocelyn kind of puts her hand on her face and leans over the bar and says, "I'm sorry, you're bothering my help."
She's helping you?
Yeah.
Tell you what, contest me and her. I'll do all the chores she's doing. You split it down the middle. First person to get it done is the better helper. What do you say? I won't even charge.
She looks out the window, does this sort of like Jim from The Office face, and then returns her look to you and says, "Well, I don't know where you were all a week ago, but yes, sure." So with that, I'm actually going to shift back over. We're going to go to Grandma Boutwali. So, Grandma, as you are...
Hello, where are you? Why do encyclopedia writers hide so much?
You may retry your check to find this encyclopedia writer, or you can try something else. You know, the world is... this is your retirement being this
basically so she views like she has the right to do anything she wants because she's elderly and has lived a full life and knows more than everyone else. Are there any passers-by at this point on the beach, or is it pretty empty?
Yes, absolutely. There is a young anima, probably to your eyes, something that looks a bit like an egret, and this one is trying to pick up things out of the sand to take a closer look at them.
So I slowly walk up to her. So remember, I'm wearing my like fancy sari, and I'm like my hair jewelry is jingling and catching the light, and so I look around.
And also all of the sand in the wind, you can.
And all the sand in the wind, So I'm gonna have a lot of cleaning later. So I walk over, I'm like, hello, child. I'm being very because I can't tell if there's a very young person or not, because everyone is young to me as an old lady. I'm making a lot of assumptions about old ladies. I'm sorry. There's a very particular old lady. Like, hello, child. Can you help me, please?
The egret anima pauses and then digs up into the sand and pulls out this blanket that it puts up at you and goes, "You scared me."
I know, I have that effect on a lot of people. Okay, what I actually want is I want information. Do you know there's an encyclopedia writer who is on this island? Somewhere. Have you heard of him or her? I don't know.
Pedia writer. What's an encyclopedia?
It's like a big book with lots of things in it.
Oh, we don't really have books on sale.
I know. But he is coming here to write the book.
Oh, he brought a book with him. That's more common.
Something like that. Have you heard of someone like this?
Give me a second. Let's, can you roll me a percentile die, a D100? Yeah, we'll call it a...
Fetch that from... Actually, Grant, could you roll a D100 since you have it open? I have to fetch my dice back.
We'll make this sort of a luck roll. I'd call it about a
Sure.
65% chance that a very, very snoopy egret might have found out
But
about
he is a
something like
scavenger.
this.
He is a scavenger.
He's a scavenger, so he's like constantly
I rolled
following people
a
around.
67.
Oh!
Nice. So, he goes, yeah, and he points north, and he goes, I thought he was trying to dig in the sand to get my
Wait,
treasure.
really? So I'm really surprised that actually worked. And so I mumble a brief prayer to Vidhan, being like, wow, for once you actually helped me. And I'm like, thank you, child. And I like pet him on the head, like,
I'm 50.
oh, really? I couldn't tell. I'm sorry. You know, these eyes, they're failing.
Yes.
And if you look into my eyes, they're actually like circles surrounded by smaller circles. So if he does look into my eyes, he might be a little unnerved.
Yes. So, he points you in the right direction, and eventually you come across a gentleman who has very, very large spectacles. He's huddled over the sand and taking bits and pieces into vials and large clumps, as large as he can find them. He's being very meticulous about the type of sand for some things, and other times just scooping him up. And the place is so flat on the side of the island that as you go up to talk to him, you can see him doing this for about a good 5 minutes before you finally arrive to see him. He introduces himself in a nervous fashion. His name is Conrad.
Like, okay, Mr. Conrad, I'm very happy to see you, but I have a letter from your publisher. They are saying that you are very late and you are not answering your mail. Here is your mail.
He takes it from you and inspects it, and then returns his somewhat glassy-eyed look up at you and says, "How did you get my mail?"
Don't worry about it. The point is that this is mail for you that I chanced upon. The gods, they sent it to me.
Oh,
And
wow.
you need to talk to your publisher. They're getting very worried about the next volume.
Wow. Well, that's news to me. I just got here. It's been a long it was like 2 weeks to get out here, so of course I haven't been answering my mail. He starts ripping it open and he pulls out the letter and starts reading it. And then he cocks his head to the side and says, "Oh, well, this is everything I already knew." He starts folding it back up and he's
Okay, well, you need to reply. That is why they are concerned. Reply to them, show them you are still alive, that you are still doing the work, writing the book, and then they will be happy.
"Oh, well, I don't have time for that. Can you send a message for me?"
Why does everyone think I am the errand lady? Do I look like an errand lady to you? Okay, I actually do look like an errand lady.
You just came to give me a message, so I just assumed. Anyway, here, give them this message, that I think that there is a relationship between the color of this sand to the particular dyes that can only be found in the plants on the top of those mountains. And he points up into the misty covered mountains. In the center of the
This is
island.
good, but aren't you a writer? Can you not write this for me and not have me remember? My memory is failing, you know. I'm not as young and sprightly as I used to be.
Oh, well, he takes the letter out and he takes out a bit of charcoal and he writes it down for you, using his leg as a table, because normally he might ask anyone else to use their backs, but he's not about to do that to to a lady.
Scary lady with claws, metal.
Yeah, she's got claws. So he folds that up and he gives it back to you. And he goes, so I take it you work for the publishing company?
No. I am Parvati Bhutwali. I am the prophet of the Union of Unrecognized Gods. And Vedan, the god of encyclopedia writers, who, by the way, you should start worshipping. I think it would do you some good, has asked me to take on this labor on behalf of the publishing company, you see.
Interesting.
Yeah, let me show you the symbol of Vedan. You should put it somewhere. He'll be very happy.
Wait, I'm sorry. Are you trying to tell me that there's a god of the bureaucratic sort of low-paying job I've been working for the past 27 years?
Yes. Don't ask me all these theological questions, but yes.
Oh, this changes everything.
It changed it for me. Now I have to do errand boy tasks.
Oh, wait. Am I going to have to do that?
No. I'm the prophet. You're the encyclopedia writer. You just write.
Oh.
And maybe in the cover, dedicated to Vedan. Then you will get lots of good things coming to you.
To Vedan. He takes the charcoal and he starts writing the name on his arm. And he goes...
Yeah, because remember, I'm covered in tattoos, so I nod approvingly that he's writing it on his arm.
And he goes, well, I guess that's what I'm doing from now on.
You're a good boy. Don't get into mischief. And I twiddle his chin a bit.
Oh, wow. Well. And here I was worshipping a god of knowledge. Thanks, lady.
Specialization, it helps.
And he thanks you for your time, and he goes back to collecting the sand. And if you'd like to teach him a prayer to Vedan before you go, you may.
Yes. I'm like, okay. In order to send this letter, I have to bless it first with a prayer to Vedan. So can you come here?
Yeah, sure.
And so I two-handedly, I make him hold the letter, and he holds two corners, I hold two corners, and I say, okay, you repeat after me, okay?
Okay.
Oh, Vedan. Muse to all encyclopedia writers. Please accept this message as proof of my existence and continual devotion to your glory. Okay, you got it right.
Yep.
And I will continue to record the world and write it everywhere in your name.
The world and write it everywhere in your name.
Good. Now I will bury this letter. And
now I will go and bury this letter.
No. Now you stop.
You stop.
Prayer is over. And I roll my eyes. I'm like, oh, young boys these days. And I'm like, okay, you work. I will go. Where's the nearest village? I'm a little hungry, you see.
Oh, and he points upward at this small hut that overlooks the sea on a tall ridge. And he goes, that's the best place to go for what I found. I've really only been here a week, so...
good. Well, I will probably stay here a few days to rest my athletic bones before I leave. If you have any questions about Vedan, I guess I have to answer them for you. So I will. Sure. What was that?
No, I'll ask you. I just have to finish up what I'm doing here today. I'd love to talk more about our...
Do the Lord's work. Though I'm not sure if Vedan is Lord or Lady or neither. But let's just say Lord for now. Why not?
I'll trust you on that. You're the prophet.
It's complicated. Okay, thank you.
Right. So then let's join our friends on their dinghy. The shoreline starts disappearing beneath a series of tumultuous waves as a storm starts rolling in. Jastix looks at you and goes, "Is it just me, or does this seem dangerous?"
Yeah, I'm not trying to lose my dinghy to this storm. It's just, it's a I'm gonna go ahead and row towards shore and dock and try to find somewhere to shelter for the duration of the storm.
Okay.
And inevitably, I'm going to end up at a tavern because I could really use a drink.
Okay. Rowing to shore isn't a problem. He's going to help you do that. What I need you to do, though, is you're going to make a might check. The difficulty is not in the actual rowing itself, but when the wind catches your sails from that big storm wall that starts hitting, you just need to sort of keep balance. So it's going to be a task difficulty. We'll call it it's going to be a hard one. It's going to be 5, but he's helping you, so you can include that on your check as an asset.
All right.
So that knocks it down to a difficulty 4.
Okay, so I got a 16.
Great. Perhaps while you're doing these things, you catch strong winds all the time. That says nothing about the amount of force, though, that hits your sails. And as you're rowing, there's no issue until it is one. But between the two of you, you're able to manipulate the ropes attached to the sails in such a way that you find yourself heading back to shore in record and safe time.
Excellent.
But there is a storm coming in, and it's probably a good idea to seek shelter at this point.
Yeah. So at that point, I part ways with Jasix and tie up my ship and make my way towards the tavern so I can...
Yeah, he reaches over, and because his mouth is super... what's the word I want to use here? I don't want to use the word rough. It's kind of tight like rubber, so kissing is still a weird thing for you two yet. But he does take his hand and gently rub it down the side of your cheek.
How romantic.
Jumping into the water.
I love this fish boyfriend, can I just say?
Fish boy.
Yeah, he's very sweet.
So, where would you like to take shelter?
I'm gonna take shelter in the the rusty delicious nail or whatever.
Okay. No, it's
My rusty
delicious nail.
It's a good place and probably a little bit more of a shelter than your shop is. You have tended to have blown huge chunks of the wall and ceiling out with various experiments. So going somewhere else is usually a good idea. And the shop owner, the barkeep by name at this point, her name is Jocelyn, and she's fond of you. She also thinks that your teeth are cute.
Aww.
When you enter into My Rusty Delicious Nail, you see that there's sort of a flurry in the kitchen. You're not the only one who had this idea, mostly because the storms have been very freakish and frequent lately. And as you step in, there's a huge rush for lunch. And at this point, I'm going to let Kalia and Fidelix describe what they're doing. Now, since this is a contest, we're just going to have contested roles. We're going to do one of each. The intellect check is going to sort of represent your demeanor to the customers who are here this morning. The might is going to be your wherewithal, your physical ability to keep doing this. And your speed is going to be your efficiency. So we're going to do all of those tasks right down the line, and then you're going to describe to me, you're going to translate that into how that looks narratively to people.
Nice.
Can I use skills on top of these? Because I have a pleasant social interactions one, and I also have I know you said speed is speed, right?
Yes.
Like going fast. Okay.
Yeah, because this is contested and you as player characters don't have task difficulties, just go ahead and add 3 for every asset or skill that you have, if that makes sense.
Okay. Cool. All right. So might is an 8 from me.
Okay.
The speed one is 7, and I'm doing great. But the other one, the intellect one, is a 16.
Nice.
My might was 6, my speed was 16, my intellect was 19.
Ooh. So I think ultimately Fiddlix is going to win this one. But go ahead and describe to me how this looks to anyone who's sitting in the bar, including Tren.
Well, they noticed this dashing anima balancing plates and sweeping counters with his 5 mystical tails, singing a jaunty tune, keeping spirits alive, polishing glasses. If you could imagine a combination of Disney's Robin Hood and Tom Cruise in the movie Cocktail, this is what's going on. And yeah, essentially. But it's all a ploy and a ruse. It's not really a competition. He's trying to get Kalia over. And while he is doing the superior work, he's making sure that it's seen in a light that the owner and the manager sees Fiddlix as kind of a bit of a ne'er-do-well, a bit of a slack-off, a bit of a showboat, and she's seen as the diligent hard worker. So while even though the work is getting done, she clearly has the grit and the chutzpah for more profitable endeavors. And the fox, while he's fun for a night, he can't stay.
Yeah, I think the reason that I am not getting things done as quickly is because I keep stopping to talk to everybody. So I'm a really chatty waitress. Like I keep coming up and I like introduce myself to everybody. And I tell them that I'm new, and I ask them how their day's going. And like I tend to get like lost in that while the fox is getting way more tables done. And then and so I'm not getting as much done, but everybody likes me.
Yeah. So between the two of you, you're able to pull in quite a profitable morning for Jocelyn. So here's how that is going to resolve. Of course, it was for the pay, so he's going to get all of the 5 stars that you were promised.
That's okay.
Yep. And then I need you to roll a d10 for me.
A d10?
Mm-hmm. If you have one available.
I go do it really quick. Five.
Okay. So for 5, she goes, well, of course, sometimes you get, sometimes you get tips, so you're going to split it. Okay. But he got a better score than you, so you're only going to get 2 star out of it, and he's going to get the other 3.
Okay, that's fine. Like I said, like the money wasn't like I just wanted to help out. So is Trin here yet? Is she at the bar?
Yep.
Okay, I think I've been running around, so I haven't necessarily noticed her. Mm-hmm. But as soon as we're having this conversation, I look over and I'm like, oh my god, Trin, is that you? I haven't seen you in so long. And I like run over and give her like a big girly hug.
Yeah. As you do that, you hear the wind against the sides of the building start picking up. Everyone turns ahead to see it because it causes the entire structure to rattle a little bit and then subsides.
That's no fun.
But yeah, reunited, and Fiddlix, although you've won all this money out of your contest, it doesn't seem to bother Kalia one bit.
No, in fact, I'm actually marking it and labeling it that it is still all her money. I just would hate to see her misspend it, and there may come a time when she needs it, and I will loan it to her.
That's a really good idea.
Yep. So yeah, you put it in a pouch and then attach a tag to the pouch, and you scrawl on it in your foxy handwriting, Kalia's money.
I have a Kalia pouch.
Yeah, and then you cross out Kalia, and then you put Fiddlix.
So yeah, I give Trin a big hug because we grew up together. We probably haven't seen each other in a while. I know that I still think you're my best friend. I have no idea if you still think I'm your best friend.
No, Trin absolutely responds with equal enthusiasm. In fact, she tries to pick you up and spin you around, but you've grown quite a few inches.
Yeah.
It doesn't work out so well.
Yeah, so we definitely I just start chatting, like, where have you been? What have you been up to? And like, just like want to know everything about. We probably haven't seen each other. We definitely, given what I've been up to, we probably haven't seen each other in at least a year.
Yeah, possibly more than that.
Possibly more. Yeah. So yeah, I'm like, what are you doing here? I just stopped off at this island because I ran out of money. But what are you doing here?
Oh, that's awful to hear, Kalia. But no, I was trying to do some of the salvage like how I do, and there was a storm kicking up. I had to take some shelter. My workshop isn't entirely safe these days.
Oh, because of the holes in the wall?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'll help you fix them, but it almost seems like a waste because they're just.
Yeah, that's. I haven't bothered. I mean, it's
there's why,
the storms.
It adds character.
Yeah.
These storms sound super weird because I was talking to Jocelyn and she said that it's like thunder without thunder. Like there's no, or without lightning. I mean, there's no. It doesn't look like a normal storm. And it's kind of intense.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of usually like this, though. I mean, it is a little different than normal, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're on shore for a little while, which sucks.
As you say that, you hear the rain start pattering the top of the roof.
All right, maybe we're on shore for a lot while. Ugh.
Yeah, well, hey, at least we get to catch up.
Yay!
Grandma Parvati, as you make your way up to the small, the wallowing willow, you see off the coast this ship listing in the storm. It seems fine, but it's just rocking back and forth with these
they can handle themselves.
Red sails billowing as the crew tightens them up.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is the ship with red sails, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I shake my head, and I'm like, oh, poor ship owner, that will not be good. Well, maybe they should pray to the gods. And I shake my head, and I'm like, though the gods don't do very much for me, they try and make me find someone that give me good directions. I look up to the sky pointedly. As much as you can pointedly look at the sky.
Yeah. Yeah, you look up at the sky as these storm clouds roll in and your face gets pelted with rain.
I'm like, oh, and now the weather. What is going on now? What? So I would probably try and book it to the nearest shelter.
Of course. And that would be the Wallowing Willow. And as you step in, it's a much more cozy place than that of the rest of the party. It's smaller, but also better furnished. The people here are a little less drunk at this hour in the morning.
I approve of this place more.
And it seems to be a family-owned place. There's an older woman. She's washing dishes and in the kitchen, and you can hear it as you step into this warmly colored area. The smell of fish is it's not overpowering. It's just this is clearly something that they're cooking this morning, and the alcohol seems a little bit better.
Nice. If I see the older woman, I'm delighted because kindred spirit. And I'm like, sister, so nice to see someone like us, running an establishment. I approve of this strong women running their own businesses. So nice to see you. I would like a room, please, and this wonderful dish you seem to be cooking. It smells very lovely.
Okay. She says a room for the night for the next day or so. It's going to cost you we'll say 10 star.
Well,
For
how
that.
much money did I start with, do you think?
Actually, I think everyone here should start with a half moon, so 50 star.
Okay. Well, I have no other option, and hey, the way I make money is I just find a coin here and there that the gods bless me with. So,
Yep, but that's going to include your meal for today into the next day, so it's like a bed and breakfast. So
That's not
they'll
bad.
feed you, they'll put you up. It costs 10 overall.
That's not bad. So I'm like, oh, that sounds wonderful. This food smells so good. I've been on this horrible ferry the last few days, and all I've had is ship's biscuits. Do you know what ship's biscuits does to the digestive system of someone as old as me? It is not pleasant. Let me tell you, it is not pleasant.
Oh gosh. She listens to you and nods, and it's absolutely no indication that she's just doing it because you're a paying customer.
I don't notice.
Yeah.
I have a high intellect, but that's actually intelligence, like not like my social skills. So I reach into my hair. There is a little like lockbox in my hair that I like cunningly like open, and I pull out the money. I close it, and I like put it on the table for her.
Beautiful. She scoops that up, and you settle in. You can go immediately to your room if you like, or you can spend some time with a couple of the other patrons who are resting in the common area. This common area,
is there
more or less. Oh, sorry.
So, is there anyone who is either really old or any reasonably attractive gentleman?
Yes, there's a reasonably attractive gentleman. He's not older. He's probably in his mid-30s. His head is shaved, and he has a very well-trimmed mustache, and he wears a scarf with very, very particularly beautiful silk and coloration and pattern that catches your eye, because you have a certain style about you yourself.
Yeah, and my second husband wore scarves a lot. So, and like he died valiantly, so.
And definitely not of mysterious causes.
Not at all.
Okay.
So I'm interested. So I go and I like plop myself next to him, and I'm like, isn't this a wonderful establishment? This fish smells so good.
He looks a little bit, what's the word? A little bit surprised as you sit down next to him. He looks up from a very old book that he's holding. He snaps it shut, and he says, I'm sorry, come again.
Oh, I was just making conversation to get your attention, you know.
Okay. And as he speaks, you note that there's a Demiran accent, so he's from the mainland somewhere.
Oh. So what brings you here so far from Demir?
Oh, you can tell that, huh?
When you get to my age, son, you know a lot of these things.
Of course. He says that he's here on some personal business.
Oh, are you a businessman?
I wouldn't call myself a businessman, but
Well, what would you call yourself?
Go ahead and roll me an intellect check to persuade. And
I don't have any skills apart from intimidate, so.
Great. So this one's going to be a little bit more difficult than your average person. It's going to be a 3.
Okay. Pressy, am I would she be super invested? Not really. So I'm not going to put any points in this. And I rolled a 5.
He says that he's just on vacation, and it's not really a thing that anyone should really be that worried about.
Oh, well, if you're on vacation, I have been to this island before, and there's this lovely little shop where there's this wonderful inventor named Meditrina, and she makes these wonderful, like, souvenir things. Look, I got one myself, and I point to my face cream dispenser that's wrapped in my hair.
I forgot about that.
Right, which I got from Trina. And so I point out, like, she made me this on special, because she made me some things for a job I had to do, and then I liked it so much, I asked her for special commission for my night creams. That's why I have such lovely, lovely skin. Do you want to touch? Do you want to touch?
Absolutely not, he says, and then and then smiles at you in this sort of way that, like, he's trying his best to end this conversation, but it keeps happening.
I literally laugh when he smiles at me because when you're as old as me, you've seen all the social tricks men do to try and get you to stop flirting with them or chatting with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, what are you reading? That book looks so interesting. So Parvati's actually really smart.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, what are you reading? But people don't think that because she's this goofy old woman who is kind of scary sometimes. But
Go ahead and roll me an intellect check. This task difficulty is going to be. We'll make it a 3. As soon as you start looking at it, he starts trying to conceal it, but you've already gotten a fairly good.
So that would interest me a lot since I'm into that kind of stuff. So I'm actually going to spend 3 points of my intellect, so 2 points of intellect because I have an edge.
Mm-hmm.
So my intellect is now 13. To spend 1 effort, and I'm going to roll. And I rolled a 7, and I spent 1 effort.
Ooh. Okay. So it knocked it down to a test difficulty 2.
Yep, so I succeeded.
So you take a look. You don't get a long look at it. You tilt your head as you're talking to him, as he's trying to get you to go away, and that's when you see that he's got a very peculiar book that he's trying to read that leads you to believe that, like, this isn't just business. It appears to be a detailed, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a map book. He's studying maps of the surrounding area, and a very strange one at that. As somebody you're not native to this island, but you're native to Sail in general.
Yeah.
You are aware that because of the vicious storms that this place is used to, not a whole lot of people carry paper books on them. So he's definitely new to the area. He's risking this book for a lot. And there's something about the way that it's inked that sort of leads you to believe that this is a one-of-a-kind book. There's only 1 copy of this.
Interesting.
And this man has it.
So that's cool because I don't think most people would know that from looking at a book, right?
Yeah.
I think then Grandma Parvati knows it because she is very educated. When she raised all her children, she just got a lot of education out of it. So I'm like, oh, that's actually a very interesting book. It looks like a first edition original of a cartographic text of the islands of Ceylon. How interesting. I've only seen 1 other book like that at all, and it was in the Great Library. What brings it here onto this little island? And I'm really interested. I just dropped.
His eyes go a little bit wide, and he folds his hand over it, and he goes, I don't know what you're talking about.
You must not be very familiar with the text you're reading. That let me educate you. And I tell him.
As you start speaking, he's like, okay, all right. Okay, that's quite enough of that. He asks if you are a friend or foe of the slavery system in Demir.
Oh, wow. Already an interesting question. I'm going to... Okay, so what she would probably do, because she's shrewd, she would be like, oh, now I'm interested in this. So I will say, let's just say I have a scholarly, dispassionate interest about it.
Right. He says that he's been studying the surrounding area for a while, tracking patterns of ships, and he thinks that the recent storms are actually pulling away the normal trade of slaves that come in and out of these smaller port cities in Silil. He says, furthermore, he opens up to a point in the book. He says, I think this is where they're going to be landing next, and I plan on stopping that.
And you are planning on stopping this all on your own?
Well, I was going to hire people. And he just kind of adjusts his scarf.
And I'm like, interesting. And how did you come up with this information?
He says, when you're as connected as I am, you get a lot of information.
And I like nod wise, like seemingly wisely. I try and look wise and nod. And I'm like, that is so interesting. So I'm going to say that one of my grandchildren unfortunately got himself turned into a slave because of gambling debts or something. So Parvati actually does not like the slave trade.
Okay.
Also, feel free to sprinkle any of my offspring or their offspring anywhere randomly if you would like.
You've got so much family.
Yes, you could just be like, oh, by the way, that's one of your grandchildren. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is very interesting. I'm in between jobs right now because I haven't been given a new task to accomplish yet. So I would be since you are hiring, I would be very interested in helping you in this noble endeavor that you're proposing.
And he goes, I would absolutely love that. And he extends his hand forward toward you. Do you take it?
Yep, I shake it.
Okay. As soon as you shake it, he says, I've seen people from your order before. I'm happy to have met you.
And then I'm a little confused because I'm not actually part of the sorceress order, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't strike me. And then I'm like, oh, not again! Like really, people keep mistaking me for that. But I'm like, you know what? It's faster to just like nod and smile. So I just nod and smile. And I'm like, yes, child, yes.
Okay. He invites you up to his room and he shows you some maps that he's been making. What really attracts your interest is the type of ink that he's using. As somebody who
tattoos.
Yeah, with all of your tattoos, you recognize the fine quality of this ink. This man is somebody who's very wealthy and very well informed, apparently good connections. And he smiles and tells you every time you ask from this point on about more details, he tells you a little birdie told him.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it strikes you that it's probably related to the idea that Demirans use these birds as carrier messengers.
Oh, like literal birds. Love it.
Yeah, like literal birds called Madakian warbirds that transfer messages to and from. They were bred for battle during the Viatfian War.
So this is really interesting to me. So because last time I used Trina's services to like help me in whatever task I had. Mm-hmm. And I know that Trina's capable, and she also has a strapping fish boyfriend who's like super capable.
He really likes belts.
What was that?
No.
What was that? I didn't hear that.
Oh, he really likes belts.
Right. And and so I'm going to suggest, like, because he, was going to hire help, I'm going to suggest to him that when I last came here, like I mentioned, there's this awesome inventor named Trina, and they're actually really capable, and we should use them as their help. Also, just for the other players, the order that he thinks I'm in is the matriarchal order of like witch sorceresses, which people keep thinking I'm in, but I'm not.
It's because of the tattoos that.
Yeah, the gods just gave me these tattoos. Okay, it's not my fault.
So, how do you know that's not the way with the rest of them? Anyway, so we're going to take a 5-minute break right now, so that our players can go be human, and we will see you in a few minutes to get into the rest of the party and maybe see a little bit more about what this fellow is offering. So we will see you soon. Welcome back. So, as we come back upon our party that is currently split but enjoying their time on the island, on Magenta
Very much
Island, we come in the midst of a storm, and it's very likely that everyone's going to wait out this most recent storm before heading on. We are going to be joining Grandma Parvati, visiting Trin's workshop. Let's first talk a little bit about what you all do for the rest of the night, shall we? So, Leora, Trin, Fiddlix, you all find yourselves in My Delicious Rusty Nail.
So it's true. I mean,
That sentence is so funny.
I like to think that My Delicious Rusty Nail is also someone's pet name for someone else. Like, that's how I started My Delicious Rusty Nail. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I assume it is way too stormy to get myself back to the Red Jade, right?
That's probably a good assumption to make, yes.
All right. Well, then I'm pretty much homeless, and I'm going to kind of tag along with Trin to try and figure out where we'll spend the night.
I love how Trin is like the social center of the group, where everyone just knows Trin.
Everyone knows Trin.
Absolutely.
I think I might have a little bit of skulking and slinking to do.
Oh yeah? What kind of skulking and slinking would you like to do?
Well, typically at night is when the good folk put the cats out, so to speak. And I'm hoping to catch a little... I'm not going to eat a cat, not in the first episode. Episode 2. But I'm going to try to keep eyes and ears open for any illicit, illegal, suspicious behavior. But if I don't come up with any, I'm going to find a place to hang my hat.
Sounds good. So as you go looking for trouble, I'm not exactly sure it would be out of the line to see if I could maybe ask if I could intrude.
Oh, please.
Ooh, GM intrusion!
So as you're wandering around, you're sort of you're this oddly colored fox wandering around on your own. You're heavily armored, and that might draw some attention to you.
Oh, and I sing as I go.
Yeah, you're singing. So you're
Sure.
Are you saying you're singing in the rain? Is that what's going on here?
Gene Kelly Fox.
Yeah.
He stole my heart. Oh, man.
Yes.
Yeah. So as you go along, singing in the rain, you start hearing, without any difficulty at all, footsteps in the wet earth around you. Mm-hmm. Unmistakable footsteps, sort of hurried behind you. And go ahead and roll me an intellect check if you'd like to see if you can catch who it is. You get the feeling that they're following you.
Marcy, was that an official GM intrusion?
It was. So you actually get an XP, Felix, and then you get another XP to give to somebody else.
All right. Do I have to give it to him now, or do I choose?
You choose.
If I give it to him now, I'm giving it to Trin because everyone loves Trin. Everyone navigates around her. She'll need it.
And remember, we can use XP we can spend XP to re-roll dice
That's
or
true.
save to level up.
Yes.
All right. Now, I got a 15 intellect on my intellect check.
As you spin around to look behind you, your fox eye catches a gloomy figure, hooded, and it dodges into an alleyway. You also notice that they are carrying on them a weapon. Somebody meant to sneak up on you, but you know they're there, and you have the very, very real insight that they are unaware that you know.
All right. Okay. Let's. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to use an action because why not? It's a game, so I'm gonna bring up this in my little window. I want to use my terrifying presence. Yeah, so where I turn around, you convince one intelligent target of level 3 or lower that you are its worst nightmare. The target must be within short range and be able to understand you for as long as blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's probably in the book.
Well, we're both scary people. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot of scary people, but also a lot of friendly people on this party.
Yeah, so for as long as you do nothing but speak, you can't even move. The target is paralyzed with fear.
Okay.
Or take some other action appropriate to the circumstances.
Interesting.
So, if Fidelix is doing that, one of the gods I serve is Dund, the god of minor local law enforcement. Could I have been on like a nighttime stroll because he told me you are on a new island, you must do a nighttime patrol?
Yes, I'm going to say you can absolutely do that.
Yay! And so I have his avatar in my hair. It is a completely smooth glass ball filled with water and one black goldfish. And it's in my hair, and the goldfish speaks to me in the voice of Dund and has told me to go on this mission. And I'm really annoyed because it's rainy and my joints are stiff. I want to chat with this charming, intelligent man, but I go into the villages, and you can decide. Yeah.
Okay. So, Grant, when you use that action, what do you say? You don't have to roleplay everything out, but it requires you to speak. So what do you say to use this power you have over this?
The best kind of meals are the ones that walk right into your mouth, slide down your throat, your gullet, and into your stomach, and allow themselves to be dissolved. Wouldn't you agree?
The hooded, skulking figure in the alley is now 100% aware that you know that he's following you. And he slinks up against the side of the wall. And if you peer over, you can see him. He seems frozen.
I know. While you stand there, unable to scarcely breathe, I want you to imagine what it feels like when this blade that I carry, pierces your side and slowly carves your flesh. And then what I'd like to do, this is just to frighten him, I have these throwing scarabs. They look kind of like beetles. Their wings are razor sharp. I'm kind of going to brandish one, and I'm not going to fidget spin it around my fingers, but sure, that's what I'm doing. We've lost Shirang.
Oh no.
My sweet grandma, where'd you go?
No, Grandma.
And with that, I'm sizing this individual up. Is there anything discernible? Do I smell any odors? Am I able to discern any particular make of their boot? Is there a ring? I don't know. I'm trying to make out some details on this individual.
Okay, you may roll me an intellect check. Your difficulty is 3.
All right. Let's do that, and we'll try to wango zatango this again so everyone can see. 16.
16. Easy as pie, you note that there is a signet ring on their hand that is clutching their dagger that they intended on cutting you with. It has this very clear, broken face on it, reminiscent of one of the 6 faces of the god of beauty, Morla, and more importantly, a commonly owned ring by people in the Assassin's Guild, which you would probably be a little bit familiar with.
I want you to go. I want you to return whatever place you consider home for the night. I want you to think about the terrible mistake that you came very close to making, and I want you to remember that I spared your life, and I won't forget it, nor will you. And then I flash another foxy smile in motion for him to depart. Almost a tombstone, you may go now. Just you may go now.
In this moment, he's not sure what comes over him, but he drops the dagger and books it.
I want to retrieve the dagger.
Mm-hmm. You do so. It's a not an uncommon blade, but the make is nice. It's got a silver, or at least a silver-looking handle. It might be a cheaper material than that, and it doesn't have any markings or gems or insignia that might give you the idea that it belongs to anybody. But the make is nice.
Does it look like it's local made, or is it made from Viad for further out?
Will require an intellect check. Difficulty we'll make it a 4.
Cool. I like this game. So we'll make that a 4. And I got a failure, a 2. This clearly came from outer space as all 5 of my tails spread out.
No, it's fine. You didn't roll a 1, so... you take a look over it. You're sure it's from one of the 6 continents, but it's probably not important.
It is of the planet. I stow it away and continue about my stroll. I think I found all my fun for the night, and we'll see if I can potentially meet up with Kalia or anyone of any other interest. There might be an odd woman.
And let me stop you right there for a moment. Yes, there is an odd woman. Now, Grandma Parvati, if you're trying to hide the fact that you saw all of that, because you 100% did see all of it, you can certainly reveal yourself, but you saw this fox talk down an assassin and spare his life.
So I'm not the kind of person who does a lot of hiding. I'm just a loud woman.
You're proud of what you got.
Yeah, and
You've got
I'm an old woman. Give me space, okay?
You've got those shoes with the really clunky heels that all of your teachers in middle school wore, so you could hear them galloping down the halls as they came to classes.
Comfy and very sensible. So yeah, I'm just standing there watching in approval. And when he collects his the guy's dagger, I clunk over, clunk, clunk, clunk.
Slowly raise my eyes. I am struck, a little confused, a little intrigued. Not too sure what's coming my way. And with that, I kind of stand at attention. Since I wasn't able to make out the dagger, a little off my sly self, and almost as if I was being scolded by the approach. I kind of roll my shoulders, and the turn is now yours.
And I clunk over and I stand there and I fold my hands, and you can see because both my 2 fingers on each hand are my light weapons. They have the claw sheath. So I'm tapping them again, and I look at you and I'm like, that was very impressive, I think, to foil a mugger. I thought it was a mugger, let's say. To foil a mugger like that, I thought that was very impressive. Who are you?
Oh, I am in fact Felix Fox. And since you have asked, I must begin at the beginning and start at the start. I speak regarding my upbringing and childhood. To tell it to you straight, I was the runt, the smallest of 9. You can hear the sound of his eyes possibly rolling into the back of his head as I start going through the genealogies of fox culture, why we're superior in the fields, what likes to hunt us, the names of all my siblings, how sad I am. And after a while, as you can imagine, dissolves as we go through these shots. As it comes back, I'm weeping about how just so lonely I am out there in the wilds all the time, and how I have no friends because we're not very trustworthy. And I don't know if all this has gotten one ear or out the other, but my mother put me into the wild when I was 2, and any sort of elderly female figure I cling to as mom.
I love it. Can I see if I know anything about anima fox culture and try and impress him with this obscure bit of knowledge?
Sure, it's going to be an intellect check. There's no particular difficulty for this. It'll just scale up.
Oh, okay. I'm actually really interested in this, so I'm actually going to spend 2 points of my intellect.
Of course.
So I have 11 intellect right now. And my dice fell, so my dice fell again. Stop moving. And I rolled a 9.
A 9. So you, being from these islands and never having much of an interest in the more woodland-inclined anima races of this, don't know a lot, but you do know that foxes happen to be, especially the fox people, they tend to be very animated, very likable, despite being absolute scoundrels. You never know which way they're going to turn from one moment to the next. Sometimes their motives are selfish, and then they'll change their minds. That's the bad side of it. The other side that you've heard is that they tend to be very loyal, very family-driven, and very, very good.
Family-driven.
Yeah,
I like that.
And they're very good judges of character as well. They say
nice.
that their canine instincts allows them to look you up and down and tell what kind of person you are right off the bat.
Nice. So I give a wry smile, and I'm like, child, that was impressive, but you can spare me the sob story. When I have lived as long as this, I know when someone's trying to win me over. You already did that.
I did.
Yes, you were very skilled. In fact, I met a very handsome gentleman who has a very noble task, and he is actually looking for people to help him. And I was wondering, you with your very particular skills would be willing to aid this very good and just task.
Well, I am, how shall we say, accepting new assignments. And there's no objection from me. Shall I present the standard terms and agreement? And out comes the toilet paper roll, and it kind of goes out. But all it says, despite huge waste of paper, I will do it. Signed, Fiddlix. Sign here, please.
I will spare you for right now the embarrassment of just having all that paper go to waste in this rain.
No!
Hold on. Perhaps you
Stone tablets. It's laminated.
No. I was going to say use Grandma Parvati, who I imagine is a very, very, very tall woman. You kind of just get up underneath her and use her as an umbrella with your with your paper. You can even just get underneath her sari and then just show her.
Yes. I'm like, oh, that looks wonderful and admirably simple for a bureaucratic contract. That is not mine to sign. If you would like to meet the gentleman, he's very handsome, I can take you to him. He is up studying late. I told him it's not good for his constitution, but young people these days.
Well, we'll go on the honor system this time. He's a man of his word.
Beautiful.
Well, I'm actually looking for a workshop of a friend of mine. Her name is Meditrina. I was going to walk around that area if you would like to accompany me.
It would be my honor, my pleasure, and my duty. I kind of twirl out my turkey glaive and follow you around, escorting you.
And I say, "You're a good boy," and I like pet you.
Well, capital B, capital G.
All right. So you all head off in the rain toward Trina's shop, or back to where the gentleman you spoke to.
I would say
earlier
Trina's
is.
shop because I'm still on patrol, and since he said we don't need to do the contract, and I'm technically considered patrol, I just decided that I'm gonna patrol around Trina's shop because she has valuable things that could be stolen. Because I'm kind of annoyed at Dunn for giving me this annoying task, so I'm gonna bend it to what I want to do.
Of course. I'm going to shift back over to Kalia and Trin right now, though. Are you two still together? Have you parted ways for the evening? Maybe you're sharing a room? What are you doing right now?
Yeah, I mean, I need somewhere to sleep, and I didn't plan ahead. So I definitely, at some point in our animated conversation about how we've been and how our mutual friends are, I'm like, so what you doing to get out of the rain tonight? Because I definitely can't get back to my ship.
So generally, when it's storming like this, it's really damp back at my workshop. So I like to hang out here and flirt with Jocelyn at the bar, and usually she'll let me come back to her place. But I don't necessarily want to leave you out here in the rain by yourself.
I mean, how
You're-
damp is damp?
You're certainly welcome to come back to my workshop with me. We can probably hang some tarps up.
Yeah, we'll hang some tarps and, it won't be the worst place I've ever slept.
Yeah, just like old times.
Just like old times.
Perfect. So you two leave to go back to your shop. As you do so, the top window in my rusty, delicious nail,
That's never gonna get old.
opens, and the red-haired Jocelyn watches you leave, and she whispers, "My rusty, delicious nail." She walks away.
Yes! You get GM points.
Yeah.
Can we award you XP?
I don't think you want to do that.
Oh, that's probably true.
I don't think that's something that I don't even roll, so I'd just be using it against
I don't know what
you.
you use it for.
But on your way back to your shop, it's rather uneventful, if not explicitly very wet, almost uncomfortably so. It is just a vicious downpour this evening. I imagine, given the opportunity, Kalia and Trin, you would get back to the shop before these two would get there, based on timing alone. What is your shop called, Trin?
I actually,
name for it, or is it just maybe it's Trin's?
yeah, people just know it as trends. I'm not the sort of person to go around giving silly names to things. People just know to look for Mediterranean stormwater.
It's
They find my shop.
it's practical. So as you walk up to the shop, you notice that there have been large boards tacked to the outer threshold of your doorway, and it's been carved into with a piece of something that would carve it a slate or something. But the wording in Sililian means abandoned by word of the council, and a name that you are familiar with, the name of your rival.
Alston Chadwick III.
Yeah. Mr. Chadwick has personally made it here to board up your shop.
I let out some colorful swears and start
Is he
prying
there?
words off
No,
of
no longer. So he's come within the past, I'd say 5 or 6 hours from you going out and then coming back and going. It's been about 6 hours since you were last here. So he's somewhere on the island, as far as you can tell, but you're not sure where. Just that he was here and decided to take it upon himself to close the shop of a poor tinkerer.
That reefing noble, he knows perfectly well that I'm still in business. And I just start tearing these boards off with my bare hands because I'm so angry.
Talia draws her dagger and goes, "Do you need me to take care of him? I will find him."
Oh, if that is not a tempting offer, but...
I mean, if he's messing, this isn't right. You're in business, he's in business. If you're better than him, then you should beat him. I guess if he's better than you, he can beat you. But I can take care of him for you. I can make sure he never bothers you again.
He's only doing this because he knows I'm a better inventor than him. He cannot invent for anything.
Okay, I'm just saying, say the word, and I'm there.
But yeah, go ahead and roll me a might check to attempt to pry this thing off. Kalia, if you'd like to help, you can provide an asset to her.
Yeah, I'll help.
And we'll call this a task difficulty 3 to pry it off.
Yeah, I just rolled a 2. So maybe the boards are very slippery because of the rain.
That's true. Yeah. You try, and it's also fresh, so you attempt to pull it off and you can't. However, for the time being, you might be able to sneak in through a window or something.
There's
hole in the
plenty
wall.
of holes in the walls.
Yes.
You didn't board those up.
I thought that calling them windows would be generous, rather than the holes in the wall they were.
I had windows once.
Yeah, he's not in the business of patching up your holes. He's in the business of being a very unlikable person. But yeah,
I also like this idea that some of them explosions caused holes, but sometimes she just needed some materials for some quick invention. She just literally ripped off parts of the shack itself to put into the invention.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely would do that.
I could see it. But you can sneak in through the window, and in short time, Grandma and Fiddlix happen upon this shop with a boarded up door that says abandoned.
Oh, has she closed business? I did not know that. It's been a while I've been here.
You can 100% hear them outside. Also.
I poke my head out through one of the windows.
Hello. Medicina! Do you remember me? You made me that lovely face mask dispenser.
Oh, Grandma, it's so good to see you again. Come in.
Oh, but it seems like you are not working. You don't have a shop anymore?
No, that's a misunderstanding. Please ignore that. I'll take care of it in the morning.
Okay, yes, I know bureaucracy is very difficult to handle. I know. Trust me, I work with unions.
Yeah.
I lift a box out the window and set it on the ground so Grandma can come inside more easily.
I expectantly look at Fiddlix, clearly expecting him to boost me up because I'm an old lady and he's a spry young fox.
I get down on all fours and invite you to step on my back. It's easier that way. Evolution.
There's no check necessary for this. I imagine all of you are quite able to crawl through a hole in the wall without any...
But I insist, since I'm quite short, Grandma, help me up and over.
And I insist because that's the way you treat a lady of my age. So I nod approvingly, my impression of you increasing, and I definitely you feel the heavy school teacher sensible shoes on your back as I climb you and then into the hole.
Yes.
So you find yourself in Trin's shop. Despite Mr. Chadwick's tampering with the outside door, the inside is left relatively untouched. It was a prank, but he's not looking to do anything more than get under your skin. Everything around is nice. Actually, roll me an intellect check. It's going to be a task difficulty 2. It's going to be fairly easy, and if you have any perception-based skills, you can apply that to this roll.
All right, I got a 9.
And then it starts getting under your skin again. You realize that not only did he board up your shop, but he took the liberty to clean and organize it. It'll take you forever to find anything at this point.
That freaking noble. I had everything exactly where I needed it.
Oh, Meditrina, your shop looks very different. Have you changed your organization system?
I like it. Looks efficient.
Efficient is not how I work. I start
Well, it is very
opening
homely
cabinets.
and cozy.
I'm running around like opening cabinets and pulling out tools and putting
And like
them
scattering
back on
them
tables.
everywhere.
Just like scattering them, like your other organizational system is just like for everything to be out all the time.
Yeah, no, I found a trunk that he had put all of my miscellaneous finds in, and I just start throwing things across the room until it's scattered all over the floor. Look, how am I going to be able to invent if I can't see what I have to invent with?
That's good thought. So unless other people want to say, I would like to tell everyone about this handsome man and this mission and things like that. I don't know Kalia, but I'm guessing it's one of Trin's friends. So
Yeah, I'm big on the introductions, so I would probably have walked up to you and stuck my hand out and been like, "I'm Kalia Red Sky. Who are you?"
you can call me Grandma, and I look at you somewhat disapprovingly because of your outfit, but I'm gonna wait till I make a full judgment on it. But I do shake your hand.
Grandma, have you ever shaken hands with a poor person before?
That's a good question, Grandma. Have you?
I'm gonna say, yeah, now that I'm on this traveling thing, I have. Before that, I was kind of hoity-toity. Now I'm a little less so.
Have you also shaken hands with the second best waitress in the city?
It's true.
Oh, how interesting. What a nice honor you have to be second best waitress. You must be very proud.
She's 2 stars.
I'm the first best pirate, and that's all that matters.
Yes, piracy, illegal activities, yes.
Also, I already have a grandma. What's your name?
You can call me Grandma until you are worthy of knowing my name.
She's like your grandma.
Okay. Okay.
I think, in Downton Abbey when she goes up to the lady and says, "What can I call you?" And she says, "Lady Grantham will do." It's like that kind of scene.
Yeah.
Grandma will do.
Oh, I get it. Totally is nonplussed.
But I'm very warm with Trin. Because
Right.
Trin is great. Everyone likes Trin.
Right. Everyone loves
I
Trin.
haven't met her before, but I'm very impressed.
He's just so impressive.
So I lay out what I've heard from this dude about this. I don't know that much, but he did tell me some stuff. So I tell them, yeah, there's a slave shipment arriving, and I am particularly emotionally attached to this, and it would be interesting to hire. I was here to hire Trin, and I give a glance to Kalia and anyone else who may possess the skills necessary. As second best waitress, I'm sure they might have much to recommend.
Sorry, did you say have you given us the spiel about what you're trying to do?
Yes, I gave this spiel, yeah.
Which is about Demir and slavery, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. As soon as Kalia hears anything about Demir and slavery, she is in. She drops her whole attitude and she says, "Okay, where are they going? Where do we need to be? What's all the information you have?" And starts putting out paper, plotting shit. She is in.
Okay, my esteem of you is slightly... My esteem, that doesn't make sense. You are rising slightly in my esteem.
Well, thanks. The most important thing is that we get this done.
Beautiful. So, the gist of it is that he needs you to meet him in the morning. He's given you a location in town. It's actually away from the Wallowing Willow. It's at the docks where he plans on giving you more correct coordinates to where you need to go. He's offering to navigate for you as well, but unfortunately he doesn't have any more utilizing skills to offer.
Is this a land destination or a sea destination?
It's a sea destination. And he has access to a very small, a small boat that you all can go out on, but he's indicated I don't know. The more you think about it, like how is he supposed to fit all of these like slaves with him for their freedom on this tiny boat? He said multiple trips probably, but it seems a little dangerous. What with the frequent freak storms as of late.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
You can easily put up tents for the night, get to know each other a little better.
Nope, I would be going back to my comfy room. I'm an old woman.
Yeah, that's true. You take the express exit from the hole in the wall. And
Yeah, I invite if Fidelix wants to walk me, but otherwise I will go back to my room and see you all in the morning.
Fiddler.
Walk you. I'll stroll you. We've got this.
Yeah.
It's
Perfect.
cold.
And also, Fiddlix, if you'd like, you can buy a room where Grandma is staying, or I'm sure that Jocelyn, because of your very excellent work that you put out today, would love to put you up for the night at my delicious rusty nail.
My rusty, delicious nail.
Rusty, delicious nail. So you can have your choice on that.
My delicious rusty nail is across town, and those bars hate each other.
They do.
Yeah.
They were probably ex-lovers. But
Yeah, that makes sense.
that's just word on the grapevine. You may choose whichever you like. It's free at the Rusty Delicious Nail. If you'd like to stay at the nicer joint that Grandma is going back to, it'll also cost you 10 star.
I better pay the 10 star. I have appearances to keep up, and also I want to be there for Grandma in the morning to make sure her breakfast is ready and that nothing wrong. If I have to pay in advance to make sure it's done right, I will.
Oh, also on the way, can I asked Fidelix if I can see that dagger that he picked up.
Ooh.
You want to see my dagger?
Oh.
The one
First date.
confiscated from that rapscallion.
Absolutely. In fact, I'm wondering if you've ever seen one like this before. And I unsheath it almost carelessly, not the way, balance it up onto, a finger with the point, sort of spin it around and then hand it to her safely, using proper knife handling etiquette.
Of course.
Naturally.
Okay, I'm going
When I ask this, I need to know very succinctly, are you wearing gloves?
Oh, not I. Wait. Yes.
You are.
But not on my fingertips.
Oh, roll me a speed check. Difficulty
Okay.
is going to be 4.
Oh no.
All right. I'm not very speedy. All right. Let me speed check difficulty 4. I've got a 17.
Ooh. As you spin it, or you go to
Bring
spin
that up
it,
there so people can
there's
see.
a certain sheen on it that catches your eye at the last second, and you change your maneuver entirely into something else as you catch the slightest hint of poison on the blade.
Be careful, Grandma. It's a poisonous dagger.
Oh, but how interesting. And I use the claw tip. I was making a note on my character sheet. I use the claw tip to daintily grab the dagger, and I mutter a small prayer to Vidan, the god of encyclopedia writers, asking for a reward for a job well done, and I use my scan esotery on the dagger. So I grab it and I look at it, and I close my eyes and mutter a small prayer. And when I open my eyes, they are no longer eyes, but streams lighting where eyes would be, which are, I'm basically reading encyclopedia entries.
Okay. You learn that this is a regular dagger with a level 4 poison on it.
Okay, with a what level poison?
Level 4 poison on it.
Level 4 Ooh, okay.
That's
and is the
fine.
dagger, do I learn anything about the dagger itself?
For the dagger itself, you learn that its build is of Elisane, which is of no real surprise to you.
Yeah.
It's a very common place for assassins to come from. You thought it was a mugger before, but after you take a closer look at this dagger, you can tell that this is one that was professionally poisoned. Somebody had it out for your fox friend.
Oh.
Okay. Is there anything particular about the poison that I know?
About the poison, let's see here. No, you just get that information. But if you were to use it, you'd find out what it does.
Okay. So let's say by level 4 poison, I know it's a particular like root or concoction of roots.
Yeah, the best you can tell.
Yeah.
Once you actually use the poison, then you can make another check
thing.
Once you see the actual symptoms of it. But for right now, you know it's a level 4 poison.
Perfect. So I look at this. I'm like, and I close my eyes again and open them, and they're normal as my eyes normally are, which are never. And I'm like, interesting. This poison, that was not a simple mugger. This is a very potent poison. I can't tell exactly what it is without using it, of course, but it seems to be from the family of the Dhi roots. Yes, that is unusual for a mugger to have a dagger of this type of venom.
So what did they... Wait, no, I'm not there. Y'all walking back, right?
Yeah. No, I'm there. And
Fiddlix is there, walking Parvati back. You two are still at the shop, catching up and maybe forming a plan.
Yeah.
Cool. So I tell Fiddlix, I'm like, do you have a particular assassin who's trying to kill you, Mr. Fiddlix?
If I check my Rolodex at any given time, there's at least 27.
Fascinating.
Yes, in my line of work, you upset a lot of people. With that said, no one this time of year in this part of the world should have it out for me. Apologies, pneumonia.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yes, but...
The pneumonia's back. It's because of the rain. I'm so sorry.
I know. My saggy fox face. I go, but how very interesting. I wonder if someone from the north got to town before I did.
Interesting. I wonder if that has anything to do with the Demiran slave trade. I know the slavers would not stoop, would easily stoop to using assassins if it meant their business interests were served.
Now, as I think through the series of events tonight, I spoke to him. He identified me. I identified some recognition of who he was from. I also gave him orders to go back to his superiors and tell them exactly who scared them off. The devils are inside the walls. I start to look around. I'm getting extra paranoid.
Oh,
they know I'm here. It's not safe to stay here. Grandma, will you hide me in your room tonight?
So normally I would certainly not, but now that I saw the poison and everything, I'm a little worried, and I'm like, yes. In fact, I will specially just for you tonight, for the special circumstance, you may stay in my room tonight. But make sure you give an old lady her privacy and her comfort.
Right. I won't come over onto your side of the bed.
Oh.
I narrow my eyes, and I'm like,
I'll be happy on the floor.
You are a very gracious anima.
And my bushy tail becomes all 5 tails are just bushy from the fear that's come over my spine, and they start to settle down. Pep comes back into my step. I'm still going to pay for a room. Mm-hmm. I want to find out if something happens to the room in the middle of the night.
Ooh, smart.
Fair enough. So let's cut back to Kalia and Trin. You two spent a rather uneventful evening. If you'd like to catch up, you can. If you'd like to start formulating a plan, you can. But in the morning, you awake to the sounds of knocking at your door.
Cool. I look over at Trin and I say, "Were you expecting anyone?"
I wasn't.
I stand up and hide behind the door, holding my dagger.
Of course. Now, this could just be a guest. This could just be somebody who is here to say hi in the morning, maybe to check up on you. Or this
as a player, I'm aware of that. Carly does not do this.
Trin, this could be an intrusion.
I assume that it's likely a customer come looking for me, but as always, I have my trusty diving knife on my hip just in case.
Of course.
So I walk over and poke my head out of the nearest large hole in the wall.
Of course. Would you like to accept the intrusion?
Yeah.
Okay, so you get 1 experience point, and then you get 1 to give to one of the other players. Which character would you like to give it to?
I'll pass it to Kalia.
Okay. So as you poke your head out, you are overcome with this very, very real anxiety. It shuffles from your cheeks all the way down your spine as you realize that the elderly woman waiting outside your door had a very specific thing that she wanted you to build today. And your shop is not in the order you need to get it filled.
Oh no!
Oh.
So this is going to be a series of crafting checks to get that order filled.
Love it. Local business in our game. Love it.
Some people get assassination attempts. Others need to do Hell's Kitchen real quick.
Yeah.
Love it.
So what I need from you as this very angry old lady is staring at the door saying, "I thought you'd be open today. What is all this?"
I am open. Please don't mind the door. There was an incident. Just don't mind that at all. I'll have your order ready in no time.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to ask our Twitch viewers, what should the item be that she needs to make? It's not going to be a cipher. She needs to make it fairly quickly. So what should she need to make for this elderly woman? What is the object here?
Can Trin make ciphers, by the way?
Yes, I'm going to be allowing characters to make ciphers for this game. Unfortunately, most ciphers are going to take longer than what she has right now to make.
What are Trin's crafting powers?
So my thing is that I can craft unique objects. I usually make things out of stuff that I can find on sunken ships, so a lot of wood and metal type objects, especially.
I'm going to take this very first request that we got in. It's going to be socks. Now, what's weird about these socks? What is something about these socks that makes them unlike any other socks that somebody needs to go and visit a tinkerer for?
Yeah, they're unique socks.
Yeah, they're unique in some way. What's a bedazzled... Okay, I can mix both of those together. They're bedazzled socks that you can use as an egg timer.
Oh, okay.
I love it! If Grandma was there, she'd want one.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. So that is what this lady needs, something to time her toes in step to make the perfect poached egg. Now, what I need from you is going to be an intellect check and a speed check. The intellect check is going to be perception-based to find everything you need around the area. The speed check is to do it in an efficient manner. And Kalia can help you on both of these tasks as an asset. But it's going to be a rather hard check. I'm going to make it a difficulty... let's make it a difficulty 4 check.
You do have experience to re-roll if you need to.
You do. Now what I've done with this intrusion, however, is because not everything is with your shop. You don't actually have the tools at hand. Those are something you need to grab by virtue of the check. So you don't get the asset for that, but Kalia can help you MacGyver this together.
Do I have to roll to help? I can't remember.
No. You just do it. There are mechanics that maybe sometimes I'll make somebody roll to help, but you have somebody who knows what they're doing describing to you what they need. For example, there are other helping or I guess cooperative checks where you both roll and you take a +2 to the roll. But at this point, you're just acting as her assistant. So let's do the intellect check to find everything you need first. That's going to be a difficulty 4 task. Now you do have the asset of her helping you, so it knocks it down to a 3. And anything else that you can think of that isn't tool-based, because that's what you're going for.
Yeah, and you can spend an effort. This seems like a good time.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and spend an effort.
Okay. Do you have intellect edge?
No.
That's okay. So it's going to cost you
3 points.
3 points, to knock that difficulty again down. So you're facing a 3 now, test difficulty 3 instead of that 4.
Okay.
And then with Kalia's help, it knocks it down to a 2.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, and I rolled a 5.
Oh no, you can't find everything that you need to put these things together. You can spend XP to reroll
Yeah,
that.
you know what? I'm going to spend one of I have multiple experience. I'm going to go ahead and re-roll that one.
Oh my god,
I really don't want to upset this woman. She's
already mad that she hasn't gotten her egg socks.
Dazzled egg timer sock.
No, she's the
Bedazzled
sort
egg
of
timer
person
socks.
that's gonna talk bad about me to everyone in town if I don't get her these egg socks.
It's true.
We should call this episode the one with the rusty delicious nail and the bedazzled egg timer sock.
That is a name worthy of a Jerry Pratchett title. Okay.
Yes, so here we go. And that one was a 9.
Ooh,
Nice.
that passes.
Okay.
So you dig a little deeper as you are searching through your items, your carefully placed items. You have the slightest feeling that this noble, this Mr. Chadwick, knew exactly the kind of schedule you keep with your customers. But you managed to find everything in time. So now all you need is a speed check, the overall task of how it's done. And that first check, it's very good that you re-rolled it, because that actually would impact this one to make it more difficult. For this one, go ahead and roll me a difficulty. This one's going to be a 2. You have everything you need now. You are free to roll.
And that's a 19.
Ooh, you make it in such a fast time once you actually have all of the tools you need. Describe for me what the socks actually look like.
So I've made them out of this strange silken fabric that I've found and dried, but it's beaded with this clock-like timer woven in on the tops of them. So they're actually more like slippers. In fact, I've actually added a bit of padding to the bottom of them. So
So
they're
that they're comfortable.
extremely comfortable. And
Wait, can the material be from the House of Arachne fashion house?
It absolutely is from the House of Arachne. I have a feeling that it is. It doesn't have any labels anymore.
Right.
But it
It's
was
their fabric, yeah.
It's in pretty decent condition, and it came from a ship from that jungle area. So
Makes sense.
All
I have
right.
reason to believe that it's very high quality silk.
You deliver them to the angered old lady. Her name is Miss Elsa. And Miss Elsa takes those from you. She looks them up and down, scours over them with her face, and says, "This is exactly the kind of work I've come to expect from you." And she hits you over the shoulder with it in this way that you've come to find as endearing, though the reaction from her being mad is much the same. She digs into her pocket and produces... she's going to produce... roll me a 2d10.
All right, let me grab those.
That's
I'm
20
totally
stars.
gonna want to find this woman later because Parvati would love to hang out with her.
Yes, that's 1.
Comfy socks are great.
And so that's a 9 and a 7.
9 and 7. She reaches into her pocket and pulls out 16 sar for you. puts it into your hand, and she goes off on her way. She's already rubbing it against her face, just delighting in how soft it is. It's also, because of the bedazzling, kind of an exfoliant.
So an exfoliating bedazzled egg timer sock.
Yes.
Got many uses.
Yeah.
You
and
got
I
it,
imagine
you got it.
Trin and Kalia have known each other for such a long time. Like you know exactly what she's looking for when she describes something to you, even if it's like sort of weird and your mind has to make 3 mental jumps to get there because you just know.
She can definitely say like, "Oh, I need that thing from that time. Like we did that thing," and then I'm like, "Oh yeah, I totally know what that is."
Yes.
So
Everyone loves Trin.
Everyone loves Trin.
everyone loves Trin. That's what the episode is called. Anyway. So, let's go back. Fiddlix, you had a query, thought about what might happen to your room in the middle of the night. So you can take a look around. It's going to be an intellect check to percept. I'm not going to give you the task difficulty of this. This will scale up as you roll higher.
Okay. So an intellect check to perceive.
Are you waiting to sound it at night, or are you going in the morning to check on it?
Well, here's what I want to do. I want to see if I can find a simple John strolling about the streets. I want to convince him, take him in, lay him down, make him up nice in my bed, and I want to put my armor up. Yes, and my turkey-headed glaive. I want to, lean against a stool. Essentially, I want to plant a body in there, taking very great care to set up the room to make it look inhabited, as if it's my things.
A literal plant? Can you grab a passerby who's a plant person?
I hope so.
You could, yeah. Roll me a d4 if you can. There are 4 races. We'll see which one you get.
I can always roll a d4.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Anima, Gans, Theron, Tannin.
Yeah.
4.
Okay. You found a Tannin to take your place in.
Find a demon.
Oh, my sweet Tannin.
Yep. He is a very, very skinny but small person, about your size, and he's got these tiny horns that you're like, those could pass underneath some sheets for ears.
Yeah.
His name is Carlon.
What was that name?
Carlon. He's from Elisane.
Oh, he's from Elisane. That is charming. Essentially, I'm going to offer him a bit of wine from my flask. Let him know. Ask him if he has tried some of the local delicacies.
You wine and dine him if that is your intent.
That's my intent.
Yeah. He takes no issue with it. He kind of already gets the feeling he knows what you're after.
Always. I have a reputation in this town. And essentially invite Carlone up to my room. And also, I asked him if it would be worth 3 stars just to sort of sleep here. We don't have to sleep together. It's just watch my things.
So you're going to roll me a difficulty 3 task for, it's going to be intellect to lie to him, deceive. This is 100% deception.
I am a trained deceiver as well.
So that knocks it down to a 2.
And let's riddle me this. I rolled very high. So I rolled a nat 20. It looks like.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
And I can bring that up. Yeah.
For lack of a better word, he thinks you're just into this this kind of thing where you invite strange men back to your bed and have them sleep there alone. And he's like, okay, I'm also into that because that is like no work on my part. But you do get a good thing that happens with this. What do you want for your
you get a critical bonus.
Yeah, your critical bonus. What kind of minor effect do you want? It could be maybe a bonus to that perception check that I mentioned earlier, where you check the room in the morning. It could be something else.
I want it to be a bonus to the room in the morning. I want the relationship I have formed with young, sweet, manipulated Carlone to reveal some information about this devious and insidious plot to take my life.
Okay, sounds good.
Just a fragment.
So
Yep.
night passes as it did after this flashback from the storm-ridden night into a sunny, damp morning with a light breeze flowing through the port city. When you go in to check the room, you find that the window is open. Carlone is still in the bed. He is there. There's no blood you can see. The room is changed a little bit. There was definitely somebody in here, but if you could roll me that intellect check now. Go ahead and add.
Check.
Yep. Go ahead and add that 3 to it that I mentioned earlier.
All right. And then add a 3 to it.
Yeah.
All right. Let me get my browser window open. I'm going to add a bonus. I'm going to add a bonus of... this only goes up to 2, but I'll just add 3 to whatever I get.
That's okay.
Bam. Oh, failure. Fiddly-dee. Oh, I got a 6. I'm going to use my experience.
Good choice.
Do you still get the bonus, right?
18.
Nice. Oh, nice.
18 is very good. So you
Minor critical.
take a look around. You can tell from the wet footprints in the floor that somebody has been in here. And Carlon, he's not moving. His breathing is shallow. There's no blood on the sheets, but there is a bit in his shoulder. As you take a closer look, he's still alive. He's just very slow. And when his eyes catch yours, he looks afraid. He starts trying to speak, and he tells you that this is that somebody did come in. They just did the slightest cut on his shoulder. It didn't. He says he barely felt it. They stood over him for a bit, and then it's almost as if they realized that he wasn't the person that they needed, and then they left. And he asks if that person was you. The rouge kind of crumbles around, but
I give him a wink, and I'm going to help him downstairs, practically carrying him and seeing if there is a physician or a doctor for young Carlone, our sweet tannin boy toy.
Can I stumble
Of course.
or can I be in
Yes.
there for breakfast?
You can.
So I didn't know that you hired this. I went to dress and undress and stuff when you were doing all this.
Yes.
Which I just thought you were being polite to not be there when a lady is changing. And so I'm like, I go up and I'm like, Mr. Fidelix, what has happened to this man who he does not look well?
Check his shoulder, not a soldier. That's his. Slip of the tongue.
that's okay. But hold on. There was actually more stuff for your 18 that you rolled. 'Cause it also includes the effect of the poisons. So you can tell on a mechanical level that this poison does 6 points of damage in addition to taking you 1 step down the damage track.
Oof.
It's a rough one.
Nice. So you figure that out. So if you want to tell me that, you can.
I do indeed, because I trust you as if you were my own grandmother, and I look to you as my matron.
Oh, I'm so touched. Parvati is not. I am. So Parvati, like, this man was poisoned in your stead, and I don't really think of why. How did he get poisoned? I'm thinking of that, and I go up to him, and I scan him. and I scan this like wound again. So again, I whisper a message to Vid, and I'm like, Vidan, grant me the text so I may read more about what has happened here. And I spend my... did the sleep, do you think, count as a rest, Marcie?
Yes, it did. So if you want to regain anybody who slept overnight, this is not including Trin, although she didn't spend any edge. If you spend edge, you regain it. It counts as a full night's rest.
Perfect, thank you. So I spend a point of intellect. It costs 2. I spend 1 to learn more about if I can figure anything else out about this poison or this wound or how to cure this man.
So you take a look at it. At this point, you can make another intellect check to determine what kind of poison it is.
Perfect. And I'm scanning it, so if that helps determine the difficulty. So I'm actually gonna spend my 2 points of intellect to figure this out as well. Because this is important. My companion is being assassinated, and this is what... I rolled an 11.
Ooh, an 11. For an 11, you...
And I'm scanning, so...
Yeah, it's... You pass. I'm sorry, I should have told you the difficulty beforehand. It was going to be 4, but now that you know from Fiddlix, the way that it works, it provides an asset to you, so it would have been difficulty 3, so you pass. This is a level 4 poison, as you knew before. It does a bit more damage than that, and also has a devastating effect. It is derived from the root of the beetleless plant, a root common in southern Elizane.
Southern Elysee. This. If I were less concerned, I would find it funny. Since isn't this man from Elysane?
It's known as the Quiet Death because it doesn't require a deep wound to kill you, just the contact of blood.
In the second volume of his discredited encyclopedia, Videlius III wrote about this poison. It was the only entry that had absolutely no errors in it, which I have just read in my head as the gods granted me this paragraph.
Normally, to add to that, people who are writing about it are either watching somebody die of the poison who are like unable to communicate with them any further, or they've accidentally poisoned themselves and are furiously writing down as much as they can before they cannot anymore. However, there's treatment for this. If he goes and seeks a healer, he will be fine. It's such a common poison in Ellison that they have very common antidotes for it.
Oh, good. So I'm like, it looks like it is the Quiet Death, which is luckily for us a common poison. We should hurry and get him to a healer quickly, and he may very well survive.
All right. And I kind of heave him up. Yes.
Carry him, exactly, yeah.
You can take him to the healer. The nearest one is... hold on, I need to refer to my NPC deck again.
Sure. Yeah, we asked the elderly cook woman where the nearest healer is, yeah.
Yep. Her name is Ace, and she is located in a temple to Triastin, the god of water and healing. They're plentiful here.
Good.
You know, she takes him. She's a little skeptical as to how you found him, but there's very little time to really question it, and she takes him into her care. But you all have...
take that quick side moment to also bury the letter I have so that Vidan can absorb it in his knowledge and tell the publisher what happened.
Naturally. So you all have a meeting with the gentleman that Grandma spoke to the other day at the docks. The gentleman is waiting there. He has a long coat on and a hood. His mustache pokes out rather conspicuously. He's got a book in hand, a very old one. And you all, I assume, come at around the same time. They do toll bells at each of the hours. So, he introduces himself. he says that his name is Hollis, and he's pleased to meet you. Now, what are your strengths that you can help him in this endeavor?
So he knows me. I've been speaking to him all night, so yeah.
Yes.
And
Go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, I have a boat, and I know an awful lot about the Demiran slave trade.
He cocks his head at you, and he asks, what kind of boat do you have?
It's a nice boat. It's a big boat. It's a galleon. It's in the harbor.
He cocks his head the other way and says, "Not the one with the red sails, right?"
Oh yeah, that's totally mine. It's pretty.
Huh. Well, I never thought I'd meet you.
Well, I mean, normally, I don't know. This job sounds like it's up my alley. If you'd rather not associate with
No.
the
You're the one I want. I just didn't think I'd meet you so soon.
in the flesh.
I'm interested by this exchange.
And then little Foxman, what do you what do you got?
I look at him, flash a foxy smile, turn my head profile, and I have rope, and I'm gonna start like pretend pulling the rope out of my mouth, kind of like a magic trick, just and then I'm going to turn and start fast talking and thralling him about how great I am and how he has never seen a fox in his life do this magic trick before. Oldest trick in the book, but I put a new spin on it. That, and I also kill things. And I open up my jacket and show my 3 throwing scarabs, and I'm like a bad puppy.
Yeah. I also kill things, by the way.
I'm very good at killing. But yeah, I wanted to start with almost the comical magic trick. And like, I don't know, I'm a fox. I look at me. I just, and I'm like, you know, kind of showing off my beauty and my colors, and essentially saying, if there is something to track and something to retrieve, I'm the best in the world at that. And don't you doubt it.
He nods with the sort of glare in his eye, depictive of most gentlemen who might enjoy going on fox hunts, and says, "Well, I'm willing to give a fox a chance. And you must be that inventor lady I've heard so much about."
Indeed, I am.
What kind of
This
stuff
is
you make?
Meditrina. She's
Meditrina, right. There's a name for that. Right. So you have a
Everyone
boat.
loves Meditrina.
You seem likable, although your teeth are weird.
You know, look, I'm not gonna go saying things about your teeth.
So here's what I have for you. And he starts pointing to the harbor, if they can start packing up, and he can help navigate you to this series of islands. But at first he takes you down a series of strange alleys and pathways before getting to that harbor. And as he does, he's talking very quickly. He lays down the idea that, for all of you, that because of the storms coming in, people have had to change their trade routes. And he's been cataloging it for quite a bit. And he thinks that he points to an island, and I'm just gonna do this really quickly. He has it drawn out. He calls it the Leviathan's Claw.
Fun.
He calls it the Leviathan's Claw, and he thinks that is the prime place for somebody to be, because these storms are weirdly cyclical, and they've stuck around, and they're in the same place. So this is most likely where their trading spot has moved. Moreover, he's organized a deal with them that he is going to be taking slaves to them and he needs, you can have your choice of this. He can pick up a couple of urchins in the city to pose as it. It could be one or several of you, but they need to sort of make this rouge look real. And he claps Fiddlix on the armored shoulder and says, "And this is a perfect bodyguard for us." But what do you say? Can you help me out with this? Because I was going to do this on my own with a bunch of orphans, but if I have, a couple of skilled individuals who are willing to lay down their, I'll call it well-beings for the good of people who don't deserve to be in bondage.
I have a lot of experience with bondage. We will not talk about that right now. But yes, I think this is a noble cause, and we must free these poor souls.
I mean, if you don't do it, I'm gonna do it. So yeah, no, I'm in. I'm here. I'm in.
I will guard the bodies. All of them.
I'm definitely in. I feel like I should probably get out of town for a little while anyway. What with the, Sir Chad here is so nicely boarded up my shop for me already. I'm free for a vacation.
Yeah. So, he takes you to the harbor, and as soon as he sees your ship, Kalia, he claps his hand on his knee, and he turns to you, and he says, "You're Captain Red Sky."
Yeah. Hey.
I imagined you to be a lot different in person.
People are often surprised by that. Like, they think I'm going to be really mean. Like, I'm not. Like, I just have a really nice ship and like helping people out.
I would say so. Let's get to it.
Sounds good, man.
And you all can board in a rowboat, perhaps even the dinghy that Trin uses. And
yeah, let's use not my dinghy. Let's use someone else's dinghy.
Oh, if Fish Boyfriend shows up, I want to greet him because I've met him before.
Yes.
Oh yeah, probably. Actually, yes. If you'd like, I'm not sure. You probably have some sort of
fish whistle.
Yeah, probably a fish whistle or something that dings underwater to call him to you.
I'm sorry, you all just said fish whistle as if that was like a thing that exists in the world.
We also kind of made socks that are also bedazzled egg timers earlier.
Yeah,
so
no, I
of course
Tina made this whistle that you stick in the water and then you blow into it.
It's made out of a conch shell.
Ooh!
Aww, I love it.
Jasix would love to come with you. So, yeah, he feels very strongly about this too. Mostly because fish people get to be very free. They have a pretty good chance of escaping bondage as long as they're near the water.
Yeah.
And he has the sort of front row seat to watching these things go by all the time, though he can't really catch up with them much of the time. He would love the chance to write that.
Nice. I chat with him a bit as we row because just like, oh, how is it going? How's the water? And just like chit chat because he's my friend's boyfriend and I want to be nice.
So yeah, you all head back to Kalia Red Sky's ship, and I think that about does it for our time this evening. That's about the time that we're allotted, just about 3 hours. So I hope everyone enjoyed themselves. Next week, we're going to learn a little bit more about just what this sort of trade entails, what these people will be doing, and maybe get to meet some of the NPCs on, what is your ship named? Red Jade. Got it.
My rogues gallery is fairly impressive, I hope.
Yep. So I hope everyone enjoyed themselves, and thank you for watching. This was a blast to run, and I love all of these people. And the next 3 Sundays, we're going to be right back here, hopefully with a little bit less face switching next time.
Yeah.
The real grandma Parvati, please stand up.